Yes, thanks, Sean. Thanks everybody for being here. Very excited, about this week. Again, another great opportunity, for our program. Great opponent. Very difficult place to play in Bowling Green, and we're excited to get out there. I think Bowling Green's gotten off to a really nice start to the season. Had a really big win against Minnesota, and playing really well right now. I think you just really great to see the strides that program's making, and the way that they're playing is fantastic, and it's going to be an outstanding challenge for our team. I think especially defensively, how they're playing. They're flying around the field, playing really fast, physical, aggressive football. They're creating takeaways, getting to the quarterback, and there's going to be areas that we have to prepare for, and have to be able to to hold up against. So it's going to be a great challenge. Offensively, their quarterback's playing really well. Second year in the offense as a starter, and it shows. A lot of improvement. On his end, they're still running the ball well, and they give you a lot of different pictures. To prepare for. They do a really nice job. Across the board, and they're very good on special teams. So it's going to be a really great challenge for us, but another opportunity to play a big time opponent in the MAC East. So we're looking forward to it, and can't wait to get out there.
What's different about Bowling Green this year as opposed to last year when you won this game at Infocision?
I think it's a great question, George, and I think there's a number of things I think that really stand out to me, but I think probably the biggest factor, and I'm sure if you talked with their coaching staff, they'd probably tell you the same thing. I think the turnover margin. You look at last season, they played 5 games, and I think we're -10 in turnover margin. And they're sitting, right now this year, I believe at +1. So that's a huge factor, and it's such an important statistic. There's so many statistics in football, but like some of those that really matter, I think is where where they've really improved and where they've really grown as a team in terms of taking care of the football. And I think especially defensively, how they have had the ability to create takeaways. And I think really the other area that we kind of talked about is just kind of that yards per play. When you look at it, there's some pretty time tested and true factors. Turnover margin and yards per play are a pretty big predictor of success. And last season BG was on average about 2 yards less per play than their opponent. This year, it's almost even. It's about dead on. So I think they may be positive point 0.1, 0.2, which is significant. It doesn't sound like much, but if you can be positive, anywhere from, up to 0.5 yards per play, your chances of winning go up pretty significantly, into the 60 percentile. So that's a pretty it's a pretty important statistic, and when you combine that with the turnover margin, that they're operating with right now. It's a recipe for success. So I think those are 2 really big areas where they've shown a lot of growth and development in their team. And I think really for them right now, it starts on the defensive side. Been really impressed with what they've done defensively. I think they've played well against everybody they've played against, and they've played against some top offenses. Certainly in our conference last week, going up against Kent, who is a really dynamic, fast-paced, ability to score, in bunches, type of offense, and they played really well against them. They got them to a lot of 2nd and longs and 3rd and longs, and were able to get off the field on 3rd down. So. And that's, not to take anything away from, what they've been able to do on offense. As I mentioned, their, quarterback is playing at a high level and, running the ball well and, playing in, some different personnel groupings and, give you some different, looks out of those groupings that you really have to have a great plan for. So, I think they're doing a great job, this year, and it'll be a big challenge for us going down there. But again, that's it's what we want. It's what we expect. It's what these conference games are all about. We're really looking forward to a very hard-fought, competitive battle.
What are you watching on that defense? Who stands out to you?
Boy, I think really just as a group overall, I think they're just playing faster. I think I noticed that they're, seem to be playing with more confidence. They're more aggressive and more physical, in how they're playing. I think, up front, I think number 9, is a really good, really good rusher. He's a good player. He's got a great motor, plays really hard. He's got a lot of ability. Their guy that's playing, the nickel for him, just transferred in, number 7. I think he's a really good football player. Long, physical guy, very good blitzer, off the edge. Can cover, and play man-to-man in the slot. He's got all the traits I think that you look for in that position. So, I think those two guys, certainly stand out. But they're all playing well, and it takes you need all 11 guys to be functioning at a high level, defensively, in order to be successful. And I think they've done a good job of that. They really have. They've held opponent scoring, pretty low, and made it difficult, on teams, especially when you get to third down. They do a lot and bring a lot of different pressures and different packages, and they really they challenge you that way.
You mentioned a defensive back there, but one thing that's definitely been happening for your team this year is your wide receiver core has been developing. And oddly enough, or I guess it's good for you, it seems like a different guy of a trio is stepping up on any given week to lead the team in receptions. How do you think you match up with their defensive backfield?
I do. I think we match up well. I felt confident about that group, the wide receiver group, kind of coming into the season. And I think, each week, regardless of who our opponent is, I think our wide receivers and, as you mentioned, one or two guys, every single week seem to step up a little bit, playing on a little bit higher level. But I think they've matched up pretty well, against everybody that we've gone against. And it certainly, is going to be a big challenge for us this week. But I think we have a good group. I think it's a group that, really have a great understanding and feel for the game, instinctually with some of the things that we ask of them to do. They really understand it. And, and then they have the ability to create separation and catch the ball and, and make plays with the ball in their hands. So, it has definitely been good, to see. It's really benefited our offense, and I think it's helped our quarterbacks play a little bit faster and, and be, relatively efficient in the passing game.
You mentioned Matt McDonald. What's the difference in him? Is it just a matter of experience, or you see something else there?
Yeah, I think, I think he's a talented player. There's no doubt about that. I think, that was never questioned. I think it's just, playing a little bit better around him. I think certainly, as a quarterback, former quarterback, the most important thing to playing well, as a quarterback is having a great defense, being able to, go out there and get stops. Is really important, in your confidence and your ability to go out there and not feel like you got to make every play and, score a touchdown every single drive. I think second to that is, a running game, and BG is a team that, is over the last couple of seasons has really proven themselves to be a difficult team to defend in the run game, a team that, is really built to run it well. They get in, some bigger personnel groupings, some 12 personnel, and, have a really good run plan, from that perspective. And I think, his experience, in the offense, I think is important. I think anytime you have a transfer, even a freshman, a new player coming in, even if they're playing, in their first year, they're still learning and they're still, kind of growing within your system. So I think there's probably a lot of different factors, that go into it. But, he's certainly playing well right now. And, that'll be a, really big emphasis, for us, for our defense to, really try to kind of get in his head a little bit and, really try to, affect him, as much as we can.
What do you emphasize in your run defense this week, given what happened against Ohio last week?
Yeah, I think that's an area where we certainly have to be much better. Again, you talk about like what it takes to be successful in the MAC East. Being able to run the football and being able to stop the run are pretty critical. When you look at the teams, in this side of the division and what they do well. So, I think the big thing for us, number one is like we have to limit the explosive plays. That's a major priority, for our defense. And I think outside of that, it's just, it's playing with really great fundamentals. It's playing, a really like physical style of play and, not letting, a run that, where we make first contact at the line of scrimmage or maybe a yard downfield turn into a 3 or 4 yard run, but being able to like knock that thing down, like where we make contact, like knock it back from there and not let them, have, as many yards after contact. I think that's, a really big point of emphasis that I know that, I stress with our team following the game on Saturday and again this morning is just the type of violence that we need to arrive at the ball with, and our ability to wrap and to tackle at the right level. Sometimes we're a little bit high, and it's hard to tackle these bigger guys. Look at OU's quarterback and the running back; they're bigger guys, and we need to be able to kind of tackle their legs, and kind of that, that lower half of their body to be able to, knock them down and not allow them to, to continue to push the pile and, turn, what could be a no gain into 2, 3, 4 yards. So it's some of those little things that I think, really make a very big difference in your success. So that's been a big point of emphasis for us, today and, will be, throughout the rest of the week.
What are the chances Bubba's going to be available this week?
Bubba, he never ceases to amaze me. I'm sure, I know he's working every single day. He's obviously, is still sore, but, I think, Bubba's as tough of a player as I've ever, been around and coached. So, Bubba's going to be back out there as soon as he is absolutely able to. I have no doubt about that.
How much did that absence hurt that defense last week?
That's nothing, but an excuse, if we were to make that. I mean, at the end of the day, like, guys have to step up and play, and, you're going to go through those situations where, you're going to have guys out, and, our opponents are going to have the same situation. So at the end of the day, like, the guys that are out there playing, those 11 guys, like, they've got to play really well together. They got to communicate and, got to go out there and execute. So, I think, you don't ever want to be without, a player like Bubba. But, that's part of this game. And what it does is it provides a really great opportunity for other people, to really step up and to show, what they're capable of doing and, all the hard work that they've put in, getting that opportunity to go out there and compete and, help their team be successful. So, we certainly don't ever want anybody to miss a game or not be available to play. But when it happens, we're counting on, everybody else to step up, their game. And, and we trust our guys, to be able to do that.
Corey Smigiel getting better year to year?
Yeah, I think he is. I would definitely say that. He's become more and more consistent. In the time that I've been able to coach Corey, I've really seen that from him. I think it's certainly his ability to go out there and execute on Saturdays, but it's every day, every opportunity at practice. He's really consistent, really steady, and I try to do everything I can to get under his skin and mess with him and bother him. I was in his ear. Today we had a long kick, to end our field goal period, and I was pulling out every commentary that I possibly could to try to get in his head and just kind of distract him for a moment. And he split the uprights. I couldn't have been more dead center, and just kind of gave me a look after he made the kick, which I appreciate and love about Corey. So he's doing a really good job. He's a fun guy to coach. He's a leader on our team. I think his teammates really respect him. I think he's got a lot of influence on our team, and I think that's great. That somebody in his position can be as influential as he is.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from anybody else? Coach, we thank you for the time today and look forward to
Recording stopped.
Green at noon.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.